Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Author's Quill. I hope everyone's having a marvelous afternoon, great evening, great morning, great night, wherever you happen to be on a big, beautiful blue planet. I love saying that every week on every show I do because, frankly, it's true. And I'm just happy that I get to talk to people from around the world, and I guess get to be heard by people around the world. It really gives me a different look on life when I know that I'm not just speaking to Americans, when I'm speaking to people all around the planet. And we get lots of emails to prove that. I do ask people, translators aren't the best thing. So you got to be a little careful in the way you write things, because Google Translate's not bad, but it has some issues too. But we do get a lot of stuff that's translated that sometimes you're kind of like, what is that about? Tonight's guest we have with us is Gigi Hooper, and I've talked to Gigi before, and she's a really nice person and a very talented artist, and we're going to talk about that in a little bit, and how she is, and she won something. What was it that you won?
I won
some contest. I mean, what was that?
Illustrators of the Future.
Oh, is that what that was? I'm getting old. I forget stuff.
That was the third quarter winner. Yeah.
So I mean, how long had you been trying to get in? For a while, a little while?
Oh man. So at the time I was in college, and for 3 semesters until I graduated, I was submitting work. I didn't know what Illustrators of the Future was. You guys were just on the scholarship list.
Right.
So I thought it was a scholarship. So I kept submitting, and literally I graduated, and then I got the phone call within the same month, like, hey, you won. And I was like, what? Okay, that's great. And then they told me about California. So that was a big surprise. So I was really excited.
So you got to go hang out with LA with all the stars and all the strange people. There's some strange people out there.
Yeah.
But it's always fun. So I mean, what did you expect actually to see when you got to LA? I mean, what was it? I mean, did you have any expectations, or you were just like, what the hell did I get myself into?
Well, I kind of know what California is like. My husband's from California. I was in the Marine Corps and stationed in California.
Oh,
so I knew what was out there, but like, it was so nice to experience California in this way, because it had to do with my art, and my family was just like blown away. It was just so beautiful and so professional, and all the courses and art talks, and that was like really, really fun. And I just didn't know what to expect. But it was like a really great experience. It was really cool.
Was there any artists that you met that you were like most like, wow, when you met them?
Oh my goodness. Listen, there are so many talented artists, and I was just so blown away. Santos, are you talking about the art talk?
Yeah.
Artists? Okay, so let me see. Santos, was he the book?
Yeah, he's the one that did the cover art. Yeah.
Yeah, Dan the man.
I was really hoping to have like a class with him, like on his, just like his process. And we didn't get, it was more like online on video. Oh man, but he was great. I confused him. He was the other guy that his wife came in. He used his wife as his muse for like Wonder Woman.
Oh, Tom Wood. Tom?
No, he was a Puerto Rican guy.
Oh,
what's his name? Anyways, I'll remember. But he was just so inspirational, because he was an illustrator, and he went to school, got his degree in illustration, and then he went back to like a real nice studio to like learn what fine art was, and that's what I've wanted to do. I just didn't know how to do it or where to go. So, man, did that light me up. There's a fire in my butt.
Yeah. So, that was Irvin Rodriguez.
Yes, Irvin. Yes.
Yeah.
He was amazing.
He was a winner like 10, 15 years ago. Contest winner.
Really beautiful. Like, the way he renders his images. Oh my goodness. He was so talented. So talented.
Yeah. Yeah. He's just such a nice guy too. He's just so chill.
Yeah. He's so chill.
Mm. But I mean, I know there's always a lot going on. So did you stay busy while you were down there? Was it like nonstop fury running around?
Oh my goodness. Like that was something I did not expect. Like we were busy the whole time. If it wasn't a podcast, we were in an art talk. And this is coming from me just graduating college. And I, had a moment where, I thought, wait, am I still in school? Like, what is this? What's happening? Because when I was in school, we would also have art talks where we had industry professionals to come speak to us. So I was familiar with that. And I was so glad that Illustrators of the Future provided that because at school, it was more all types of creatives, ceramics, studio, graphic design. And for the first time, I received information from actual illustrators in the comic book industry, children's book, like all the stuff that I want to do. And God, really good information. So good.
Good. Yeah. It's good. When winners come there and they see what they've got that they can take advantage of, and they take advantage of it. Mm-hmm. It's all there to try to give you the tools you need to be able to survive as an artist or as an author. And it's not just here's the skills necessary, but also the business acumen, because they also go over contracts and how not to get, someone that will take advantage of you and not know that that's what's happening, and what to expect, and what's within your rights. That's the kind of stuff also it's important to have as an artist.
And they provided so many good resources. Like there's a textbook about just the ethics. What is it? It's like, I have it here. Pricing and ethical guidelines. So Echo presented that to us. She's one of the judges. And I purchased the book because I thought, oh my God, I've never heard of this. This is so amazing. So I've been doing my own reading and just trying to, start my own business. And it's a lot of work. I'm still trying.
Yes, it is.
Yes, but you've also are able to reach out to the judges.
Yeah.
And they'll give you information. They'll still help you, It doesn't end when the clock strikes 12, then it's over and then everybody turns back into the mice and the pumpkin and everything. It's like, it's you still have relationships with everybody.
Yeah. I mean, even like the other illustrators, like Steve Bentley, we live around the same area. So a lot of the times that they set us up for like a book signing, we would do it, but like off the record, I've spent time with him and his wife, me and my husband, and it's just been really nice to like light that fire, especially because you feel kind of alone. And I just got out of school and he's trying to launch his thing, and I made really good friends with like Pedro, Selena, other illustrators that are like in Netherlands and Portugal. That was just so fun.
It's funny when we got Pedro on a show once, he was, for him, it was like 11 o'clock at night, whatever. So, but he was at a comic convention there in Portugal. Yeah. And then he came to do the show and he said, okay, talk to you later. I'm going to go back now to the convention, So at that point it was midnight or so, 1 o'clock in the morning for him. But he'd already had a career as a lawyer. And
I didn't know.
Which I didn't either when he said that.
He was a lawyer then, but he really wanted to do his art, so he stopped that. He just gave his practice so he could do his art.
Wow, what a secret keeper! He didn't say that.
Yeah.
When I met him, well, I mean, I'd already interviewed him, but the first time, I didn't know. And this time it came out when John and I was on. I was like, lawyer, really? He just doesn't even look like the lawyer type. I guess I shouldn't say things like that. But he just seems too nice to be a lawyer, to be honest with you.
Yeah, like I admire him because him and his wife work together. And my husband's also a creative. So that was just like, oh, I could do that with my husband. We can do stuff together. So it's really nice to see that.
Yeah, no, it's very, we have, we do really well on getting just really nice people as winners, and it's by and large the majority of what we have, just because we have no idea about you don't have to have a personality to win the contest. You just need to have either good art or good storytelling ability. And for the most part, they go hand in hand. Not always, but for the most part, they go really, really, well. And for myself, and sometimes it's kind of odd because I like the winners so much. Like I just immediately like seeing you like Gigi, it's like,
I don't know. I do that to people, like.
Yeah, you do. Well, you did it. But I'll have somebody I haven't seen for 10, 15 years. And I'll be like the same way.
Yeah.
And they're kind of like a little bit taken aback, like, whoa, because it's for us, the Writers of the Future and Illustrators of the Future is such a family thing, So even though we've got upwards of 1,000 winners now and the 30 writer and almost 30 illustrator judges.
Wow.
It's, everybody is like loved equally, as, the arts, because it's such a sought after commodity from the bloodsuckers, that like to, just,
I got
to suck your creative juices out of you.
I know.
That to help reinforce that. Say, hey, look, you've got family that wants to encourage you and keep on assisting. So, I mean, sometimes I'll get people that, like, coming up on Monday, I'm doing an interview with a guy named Mike Cole, who was a winner in volume 19 or 18.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember quite well, it's on the stage where he was there, and there was Robert Silverberg, who's a famous science fiction author. And then that was the night that he got his Lifetime Achievement Award. And so Mike says, okay, when you got to sing, I'm going to dedicate this to, I'm going to make it. I'm going to be up here one of these days too, carrying your footsteps. He didn't do that. He went on, but he wrote a lot of great science fiction and fantasy. He's been on multiple TV shows, got quite a storied career in the military, and now he's writing nonfiction. The interview I'm going to be doing with him is on a certain time period, like the early 1600s in English history. I've never done an interview with something like that on it's military history, talking about this scene, which is the end of the the round table type, the Sir Lancelot type folks. So anyway, so I'll be doing that on Monday. But it's great. I'm going to catch up with him. How's it been going? And what about this? And what about that? And, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, if I'm still doing this thing here, I'm going to be fine. Okay, Gigi. So, what happened with your career? How's it going? And we love knowing that it worked. And you got people that got a career now that we helped with.
Yeah. And I hope it continues. It's really easy to be discouraged. Yeah. Especially with, the fear of AI. I'm not scared of AI. I feel just like, there are people that know how to work with a camera that was made, 50, 100 years ago. In the future, if this is the case where AI takes over, people are going to seek for me because they want human art. So I'm not worried about it. I'm totally not worried about it. But
that's totally the correct viewpoint. Totally correct. Because you're always going to have people that want to have, like when I was in college, the only kind of art I could afford was posters. So I'd get, like the triptych or different things that I'd put up on my wall. I could afford $1, $2 for a poster. I couldn't afford the stuff. So you got people that can afford AI something, but once they get a little bit of stable ground, and they're going to want the real thing. They're going to want.
Yeah, I'm gonna want oil no matter what.
Person. I want a real life oil that I can see. And
that's right. I want an oil that I can touch. I like oil paintings. I've always been hooked on oil paintings. And I'm not saying in 10 years, 20 years, AI might not be able to do oil. It's just I really do agree. I think that people are going to want originals from humans, and I think as AI gets more popular, the human originals become more expensive, which is probably a good thing. Now, how many is it going to cut people back on work? In some areas it will, but even, I've been talking with some companies about doing some video work lately and some TV work, and they're all telling me the same thing. So they're going to use AI, but not to create, not to come up with the concept. They're going to come up with the concept, do the original designs themselves, and then hand them over. So you'll still have to have a good illustrator to do those designs. Then they'll hand it over to AI and let them do, the stuff that takes forever, the stuff that any good illustrator is going, oh, please shoot me now. Because it's just stuff that you're filling and doing stuff for whatever TV series or whatever it happens to be on. And it's tedious work. So they can let the AI do that, which will save them money, allow them to pay you more money, allow us to have cheaper movies. So I think if it's handled right, it'll be a good thing, as long as they don't try to make everything. And besides that, you can't copyright AI. who wants? Do you want a famous picture that I go get and I'm selling just as many as you are? And it's your picture, but it's AI. No, nobody wants that.
Right.
We're heading to a definitely. I just read the last issue of Library Journal that came in, which is one of the trade publications, and there was a whole article there on that they're talking about on AI creating these deep fakes and doing these videos, and they did examples of so which is the real person, and they do like some famous celebrity saying something, and then that same famous celebrity saying something else. Which is the real clip, right. And it's hard to do it, and that's we had last week on as a guest James Rossone. His whole thing on his near future military science fiction series started with that, where you had in this case here, China was ones that were using. They created that app that everybody did, that the social app that everybody did, which is basically the same thing as what TikTok is, and they use that to profile all the countries and the people and the celebrities and political figures, and then they started doing deep fakes of the president saying things they didn't say. So you see him walking into a room and it's obviously him, but then at the point where he's around, by the, hidden by some wall or someone else walking by, then he says something which is not what he said, but you could get the same voice out of it. So you're going to have that stuff happening too, and like that's a real issue that's going to be dealt with in the near future, because there's so much fake news and fake, it's the amount of stuff that you see out there that's just made up stuff, just incendiary. And the only thing that can be able to come so far is saying, okay, well, as much as possible, try to just see the original, whatever it was. If it was a news conference, if it's a briefing, watch the original one to see what was really said. Because you found that a lot with Trump, where that was just taken and altered, or you take whatever, or what they did with Kamala, where you make it just a total botch of an interview, but then what was it, NBC that edited down to made it sound like it was very secular what she was saying. You'll find the media will do so. It goes both ways of the coin, It does. So with respect to the art, it's your attitude is absolutely the correct one to have, and keep on perfecting your art to build up as an artist to provide what's needed and wanted, because then you're going to have your reference as well.
Right. So I feel with AI, for those that are using AI and then just like saving it and spreading it out as their own, that's kind of like it's dangerous, because if you get hired for that image and someone wants like corrections or revisions and you don't know how to do that, AI is like a wild card. It'll give you whatever. Like if you don't know how to correct a five-finger hand, like you're gonna have some problems.
It has problems with hands and feet bad.
Like it's a resource, it's a tool, it's what like projectors and the contraptions that help you measure distance, and it's like the grid method, it's a tool,
right?
But outside of that, if you don't have like good foundations, that you just need that. You need that, and there's no way around it. So, good luck if Nike hires you and you don't know how to edit anything.
Yeah.
So
because you're gonna have to have it. You're gonna have to. They're just, from what I hear, it doesn't seem like it's going to change all that much. It just sounds like that most of these companies are going to use AI for the tedious work and keep their illustrators and authors and writers and programmers for the original stuff, which they need to if they're going to sell it. Because if you let AI develop it, then it's not copyrighted. Now, if you let somebody else develop and then use AI to enhance it, it is still copyrighted. So that's a whole different thing. I don't know. I know the first time somebody told me about it, I was like, come on, really? It's already hard enough to make it in the world. We're going to go add this into the middle of it.
Yeah.
But I did hear one thing from just recently, because Trump was on a rampage about social media. They did talk about making sure that all AI has a script in it that you know it's AI. In other words, it'd be legal if you get caught producing AI without this script, then you could go to prison for attempted to fool people. So they want people to know, which is anytime I hear my government that wants to do anything right, I'm happy. So that would help. That would help everybody, because then when you'd see it up, you'd come up on your screen, and underneath it be a thing that would register on your computer. This is AI.
I believe they kind of have that, where like you can, like, if you pull up a Google image, it'll tell you like the background information of that image, if it is like human made or AI. It's like, if you think you're going to get away with anything nowadays, like, that's wild to me.
Yeah, I know. It's the computers are slick these days.
Yeah.
There's a lot of good programs out there, a lot of good apps out there, a lot of good stuff. What is that, Gene? What are you talking about? No, Friday night. Sorry. Yeah, I didn't realize what you wrote. No, go ahead. Friday night. Sorry, guys. That was one of the weird interruptions.
Yeah, one thing we have with the Illustrators of Future contest, we find that
Hey, Michelle.
we have I don't want to call them illustrators, because they're trying to use AI to try to game the contest to see if they can win the contest. We had one person who before you who won before we knew it was an issue with AI art, and so we didn't know. So he came and he didn't really attend any of the workshop stuff because he didn't know how to illustrate. He didn't know how to draw. And
what volume was this? This was volume what, 39? Is that what you're saying?
No, it was a couple of. I'm not going to go any further than that. But yeah, one of the guys was that, and he's totally into AI stuff and using the scripts and stuff and prompts. And we didn't know that was pre it becoming an issue. So now we changed the rules to the contest. And we'll go through, Joni will go through, the contest director will go through.
Joni, go.
Sometimes, a third of the winners, when they make it to the finalists, we do the real thorough checks to make sure, and we find that they're using AI art, and then we disqualify them, and we go through several people before we finally get, okay, here's the final winners.
Good for you guys. That's good.
Yeah, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. So we're not doing so no more on that. And so it's like we're very, it's not, whatever that industry is going to be with someone that masters using prompts. Okay, fine. If that's their gig, that's not writers and illustrators of the future. So we don't do that. The stories are easier to tell. So our judges are so much better than what AI can do, so they can spot it pretty fast. But on the art, Echo's pretty good, and she'll challenge stuff. And the thing is with AI art too, if you ask, okay, so give me your layered files, there are none. It's
right. I remember that being, I don't know if it was like in base camp or like an introduction to, these are the steps. This is what we're going to do. I think it said something like that, where like at any moment they can ask for your layers and your files and all that jazz.
Which is the way it should be. I mean,
Especially all the more so now to know that we really have, an incursion of someone that wants to try to game the system. And some people are such that if you say you can't, no AI can win, and then they're going to try to do it just to prove that they can,
Oh yeah.
We had one person, we did have one person last year who he said, is this AI? I said, no, this isn't AI, not AI. No, this isn't AI. Then finally on the final art piece, when they were doing the their art for the story, Echo saying, no, show me your layered files. And he said, I can't. So this is AI then, right? He said, yes. And so he said, okay, give us our money back. Because we sent him the money when he was announced as a winner. And he said, I don't have any more. He said, I gave it to my church, which obviously is a lie.
That's like my dog ate my homework.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So So, but we're pretty.
So you lied to help
Yeah.
your church. That doesn't make sense.
Yeah,
No,
that's
I mean,
right.
it's
You're still
obviously
going to
not
hell.
true.
Get over it.
Obviously, it didn't go to this church, but it was just, that's what we're dealing with out there in terms of some people with their sense of integrity. They have no integrity, that they would want to do that. This is an art contest. Oh, I recognize that art.
Where? Oh, there's art up there. There it is.
Oh,
Yeah.
wait, let me see. Hold on.
She's like, wait a minute, whose art is this? Wait, let me look.
No,
Yeah.
I was expecting you guys to go to my website. So yeah, so the little piggy one, I submitted 3 pieces, and that one, the 3 pieces were for the senior thesis student exhibition at my school. So yeah, and that's what won, the contest. I'm like, oh, that's great. Senior thesis, exhibition, and then they won. And so it was
In the
fun.
one on the left up there, Joe, that's the one that's in volume 40. That's her illustration of the story.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
thought I kind of
Number
recognized it.
30. Yeah.
It's do I have that book out here? No, I do not. Oh yeah, there's volume 40 right there. I got so much stuff up here, I don't even know what's up here anymore. Okay, let's get it.
Okay, so that is on my website. Okay, so I'm also looking at my website right now.
Yeah, I popped up on your website. I actually came around the other way for some reason. Why were naked women falling out of my thing, man? Let's see if that's what I'm talking about. If anybody gets any ideas, stupid ideas. Let me see. So you did the illustration for Lisa, right? For Lisa Silverthorne?
Yes. It was like the perfect story for me. I'm so happy that I got the story. It was amazing.
Yeah, because if I remember right, she's a guest after you today.
Yeah, she is. She comes on next.
Yeah.
So-
I thought we were doing it together, but I guess I was
Well,
wrong.
what we do sometimes too is like when
I might send her a thing in a
stay
minute.
on. We've done that several times too. Where
And I might send her an early invite too in a few minutes.
yeah,
For some reason, why am I not? Apparently I'm getting old and my brain doesn't work no more. Now I know damn good and well there's colored pictures in this book. Yeah, that helps, but still, I think that's why the guy from History Channel last night was going to give me a job. So
I think my illustration is like the second to last image in the color section.
yeah, that's right. But for some reason, me and the book, or the book and I, oh there it is. I was like, what the hell? I couldn't find a colored section for nothing in here. I don't think I've been in this one. This is one of these ones that have been signed, and I just put it on a shelf somewhere so it doesn't get, bent up or destroyed or something. I gave one of the other ones away. Let's see. Oh yeah, there it is, right there. Now let me see. I'm gonna have to get where.
there you go. Volume 40. It's this one right here.
Yeah, let's get it up. Let me sit where
Summer
I can
of
see
30
it.
Years by Gigi Hooper.
Yeah, so we both got it up there. So now see that there y'all go. But hold on, just so y'all can see a little bit. We'll just remove this for a second, and then we'll do this. Boom, and there you go. You can see it a little bit better. John's had a little bit better color than this one does, but y'all can see it right there. We'll get up nice and close.
Yeah,
Now, if you want to see it personally, you just simply go buy this volume right here.
that works
There
for me.
GalaxyPress.com or any place that sells books, you can get it there. There you go. Right there, it's volume 40. A lot of interesting characters in this book, both in illustrators and.
That's right.
I would recommend reading it. It's a wait. How do I get back up there? Let's get off of there. It's a lot of fun, a lot of good stories in there, and we know there's a lot of good stories in there, Jack. You all know there's a lot of good. So just go purchase it and look at. Hey, Michelle Wolfen, how you doing? Wolfong. Sorry, I pronounced that wrong. What was that, Michael? No. You can win. Yeah, that's the only way you get in there is if you win. I'm sorry. I didn't know I misspoke, but yeah, you can only get there if you win. You got to win writersofthefuture.com. Go over there, submit. If you're an illustrator, submit. If you're an author, submit. If you're an author, go take the free course. Maybe it'll help you win. Win. You get to meet John if you win. Oh, hell yes. Yes. You might get to meet me. It depends. I'm kind of ornery sometimes.
He's sometimes
No,
not honorary.
yes, actually, everybody there is fat. I was talking to some lady about it today. A quick little story. I was wearing the T-shirt. I forgot which one it was, but it was. I think it was last year's, the year before last T-shirt. And no, the year before that, actually, it's 2 years back's T-shirt. I was walking around at work, and this lady came up and she goes, "L. Ron Hubbard," and she says, "What is this?" And I'm like, "Oh man, here we go." And we got to talk, and I started telling more and more about the contest. She goes, "I'm an illustrator." Instantly, she whips out her phone, starts showing me picture after picture after picture. I said, "Well, that's great, baby." I said, "Go to writersofthefuture.com and submit." I said, "As long as you're not a professional artist, you got a shot." Now, I'm not an artist, and I have no idea if it was good or bad. I mean, it looked like art to me, but what's the standards of Echo is a whole different thing. So, but I told her to go submit. I tell people all the time, you should just submit. Only way you're going to find out is, and I said, they're not mean. I said, if you don't win, they just send you a letter. Hey, try again.
Yeah, I think there's two people. I want to say two people that I know right now, but they're writers, and I keep telling them, just send your work, just send it. So I don't know if they're gonna do it or not. I mean, they say they are, so
Well,
we'll see.
hopefully.
Yeah.
I tell them all the time, send it. I said, if you don't submit, you can't win, and
That's
that's the only
right.
way you're going to submit. And more people, when they find out what goes on and how they fly them out to LA and all, then their eyes brighten up a little bit, like, wow, okay, I can get a free trip to LA. Yeah, well, if you win, you can, but you got to win, and what's that, Michael? No, I'm not saying it's impossible to win. I think if you're a good author or a good illustrator, I think you can win.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, I mean, I've read now over 100 stories, seen over 100 illustrated just from this group. So I don't know what to tell you guys. There's 24 a year. I've been one for 5 years, so it's over 100, about 120 people, 118 people.
Wow.
I've interviewed and looked at their artwork, and you know what? There's a lot in common amongst them. A lot of differences too, but there's a lot in common too. There's. But what they all got in common is they all tried. That's what the main thing is. They all did the thing and sent it in and won. And I know they try to help you if they think you're good, you're not quite good enough to win, because they want to see winners. You forget we're all big geeks here, so we want to see the next really cool illustration or the next really cool sci-fi movie or the next book that makes both a good illustration and a sci-fi movie or anything, those combinations. We want to see it.
Yeah.
I tell people all the time when I'm interviewing them, hey, I might be wanting your autograph in 5 years.
There's something really special about just being in a room full of illustrators with their own style, with their own background. We had Karina. She's into art therapy, I think.
Yeah.
And that's what she did. But she's so fun and so cute, and her work is so interesting. And then you have people like Pedro, that he brought his portfolio, hand painted works. And it was just really if you do win, for anyone out there that wants to, jump in, be open to other people's work. And it's not about, I want to be better than this person, because these are the people in your industry. Everyone has a different style. And there's just so much you can learn from the person next to you. These are relationships that if you nurture them and you're open and you're willing to receive critique, a lot of people don't like critique, but if you're willing to receive critique, man, you're helping yourself.
You are. Now, see these ones over the right would sell good where I live. I live on a Gulf Coast, so anything that's pastel or anything ocean related, the tourists just buy it like it's candy, and I'm like, okay, don't quite understand why, but they do. It's interesting to watch them too, because they have all these little mini fairs that on Saturdays and Sundays you can go to, and it's a lot of illustrators out there, a lot of artists.
Mm-hmm.
How do you sell your art mostly, Gigi?
So it's, oh man. So I am in a weird space right now. So I fall in the world of graphic design and illustration, but this is the first time that I was able to show off or do something in the industry that was illustration related. So this is the first year that I've been able to push out illustration work and not so much graphic work.
Yeah.
So I just started my business in January, and I've just been doing a lot of commercial stuff, like a commercial sign. It was hand painted, but it was very much like a sign. This is our business. Branding, logo. What was the other thing?
That's where the money's at.
And there's something really important about being an illustrator and being open to the graphic design world, because you have a beautiful piece of art, but if you don't know anything about type, it can destroy your artwork. So
Right.
I do see the benefits of having some graphic design background. As of recently, I've been working with Maliba from Galaxy Press, and right now,
Who the hell is that? I've never heard of her before. Who is that?
Go.
she's
She's an alien, isn't she? That's what she is.
She's
Go.
She
Oh,
is amazing. She was one of the judges. She's the I believe she's the editor, right?
She's not a judge, but she's an editor. Nope, none of the staff here are judges. Those are all.
Oh,
We don't have any decision-making process at all on who wins.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
We get told who the winners are from the judges, and then we welcome you with open arms.
She assigned me my story.
Sure.
That's what she did.
Yeah,
And-
she studies the stories, and then she tries to
Mhm.
match up your style with the story to make the best possible match
Yes.
and give you the best opportunity to
Yeah.
succeed.
Yeah. So she picked my story. Thank you, Maliva, if you're watching this. But
No,
like
we don't love her.
on volume 41, I will be in volume 41, so that's fun. And
You'll be out here again too. Then
yeah, huh?
we'll be bringing you out here again then too.
No, you're lying.
No,
Well, if that's true, let me know. That was
I just did.
And I'm actually working on a holiday card for Galaxy Press too. So that's like,
That sounds interesting.
Well, that's
Yeah.
great. A double.
yeah. So it's been fun to tap into that side of like my creativity.
Yeah.
So
No, that's great. And then your name will be on the card so that when other people see it, other people that will get your say, who is this Gigi person? And
yeah,
Gigi's a good name for artists, man. It's a good, catchy name.
yeah.
It's easy to remember, you know. Well, some names sometimes these artists get these crazy names. You're like, who? You know, it's like it sounds like three different names in one. No, Gigi's easy to remember. Oh, yeah, it was a Gigi chick. That's who it was. Oh yeah, let's go call her. That's just way easier to remember.
But interesting enough, there is another Gigi Hooper in
Oh, no.
Instagram, and we connected because I think they were confusing her with me. So we had a back and forth about like, about, hey, people are reaching out to me, and I'm like, oh, I didn't know there was someone out there named Gigi Hooper, so maybe I should change my Instagram name. I don't know.
No,
But-
you're the original. Tell
what
me, get out of
is
here.
she?
You want
Unless
to do
she's
it.
a famous athlete or a TV or movie star, you can also build your name up bigger than hers too.
But she's also an artist, and I think she has her own studio as well. So, but she was really nice. It was really cool to meet another Gigi Hooper.
That's good.
No, this must be somebody at the GALA all smiling up here. And
Oh,
stuff.
look at that.
Everybody's all smile. Look at her. She all smiles too.
Yeah.
That's sassy looking.
I had
Oh.
13 people at my table. It was crazy. It was so fun.
Well,
That's
it's
awesome.
great, huh? Yeah.
What was your husband's response?
Oh, my husband is like my number one fan.
Sure.
If anything, he's the one that pushes me to just do the work and submit it. There's
Yeah.
been so many times where, I get stuck in the cycle of, oh, just a little bit more, or this isn't right, or it doesn't look good. And he's like, just send it. Just send it. Just send it. Just do it. It's okay. It looks wonderful. Send it. So I'm thankful for him. When I told him I won, my sister lives with us too. He was so pumped. He was so happy. He's like, we're telling everybody, and we're gonna go out there, and the whole family's coming because his family's from California. So it was really nice to.
That's so good.
Yeah, he's nice. He's a sweetheart.
No doubt.
That's good. It's good to have backing from the other half.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's like really important to get
Yes.
that type of support.
Yeah.
But I can't complain about not getting that type of support. My mother and my father, my sister, my family, they've always been supportive of like, what are you doing? What's the new art thing? Can you do this for me? Can you do that for me? You know, and it makes me sad when I hear other artists struggle with that, you know, like, oh, my parents don't think that I can do this or I can't do that. And it doesn't make money. So yeah, I've always had like really good support. I'm just glad I married someone who supports my crazy. So
It's always a good thing. Trust me, it's always a good thing.
Definitely a good thing.
Yeah.
So what was your process when your Maliva gave you this story. So how did you go about doing your 3 sketches initially?
Alien chicken.
So when I read the story, I have Speechify. So I had it read it to me several times over and over and over again. And when I went through the work, I highlighted like epic moments that I instantly would come up with in my mind. Like, okay, there's time, there's people, there's Oregon. I'm from Oregon. So it's like a coastal story. So I already had a vision for the pine trees and the beach. And like anyone else, I just look up resources, you know, anything that represents time. I go through a really thorough like list, Excel spreadsheets of words and mood boarding, and even looking at how other people paint skies or trees or anatomy. And yeah, so it's a long process for me, but just like I hope everyone does that. You look up resources and then you try to blend those things together and come up with 3. My 3 images
Remember he did a thing with the hourglass in terms of time, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Was that your thing, or was that Echo's thing as a suggestion of thing? Or
no, that was my thing. Yeah, I really liked the idea of time. I knew I wanted like a clock, but fun fact, I wasn't gonna do that. It wasn't my first choice. That image that in the book was not my first choice. And if I'm honest, I was really scared of doing it. That's why I didn't make it my first choice, even though I liked the idea. I was really scared to actually be able to do it. So my first idea was like a graveyard scene. It was going to be really fantastical and gloomy and whimsical all at the same time. And as I, you know, really started diving into it, I thought, I don't know if this is like the right thing. And I submitted it anyways. And we were like in the design process. And Echo, you know, very nicely was like, I don't think this is like the one. So then I said, you know what? I agree. This is not the one. Thank the Lord. I'm happy to try the other one. And I did. And it came out great and it worked out.
It definitely worked.
I had to receive criticism and acknowledge like, this isn't the one. And that's okay to start all over. I mean, it's a hustle, but you know, if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. And so
had you been art director before?
I mean, I would say so because I've done murals in the past. I've participated in other like city exhibition stuff. And so, you know, I'm very open to someone telling me, you know, this is what I like, this is what I don't like, especially if it's something for them. And that's something that I had to grow in. Right?
Take patience.
Like criticized you know, or corrected. So with time, that's just something that I accepted, especially as a commercial artist, right? Like if the client doesn't like it, you can't force them to like the image. So yeah,
it's always about the customer. If you're going to make the money, it's always about the customer. People always like, anytime I'm dealing with new customers, I'm like, hey, how you doing? I'll just let them talk until I got an idea of what they want anyway.
Yeah.
And then I'll bounce ideas off of them, different things. But all my customers, well, anytime you bounce ideas, it means more money. I said, well, usually it's because it's an enhancement. That's why it costs more money. But it's fun. But hey, that's half of the deal. I'm sure you learned that while you were down there. You got to be able to sell the art. You got to be able to talk about your own art, and you can't be scared of criticism. I mean, legit criticism, not hateful.
Talking about your art, that I find that very challenging for me. I just want to make the art. I have an idea of what my art's about, but like, man, put me in front of a whole bunch of people, I'm like stumbling over my words. I'm like, what is this?
That'll get easier. That'll get easier. Trust me. It'll get easier.
So hopefully that part gets easier for me, but
it takes a little while, but it'll get easier. You'll get used to people asking you questions, and you'll start getting certain answers that'll be in your head all the time after a while, because when they ask about a certain piece 50 times, 100 times, it'll be almost like a pat answer just come out of your head. And you won't really think about it, and it'll make it easier. And it just takes time to get used to. You got to get used to people staring at you and staring at your artwork. And it's a little weird to know people are actually staring at you. But it's like when you went, but you did good up on the stage. You didn't look nervous or anything, or like you were going to pass out or nothing.
Yeah, like externally, that's what was going on. But
the shield was up
in my body. Something else was happening. I'm just like really thankful that it worked out.
Yeah. So I have a question. So on your art that you do, is it an income source for you now?
I would say not. I'm not in a place where I can just rely on my art. I've been like I said, I just started my business. I've been dabbling in whatever I can get.
So what is your business?
It's a design, art, illustration, and like graphics. So like signs,
like Gigi, branding,
now with illustration, holiday cards, commissions, books, hello.
So you want to write children's books?
Yes, I do. And I've been sitting on a children's book for a long time because it's one thing to be the illustrator, but to also be the graphic designer and the author. And you just don't realize, like, you need a team. You need people to help you. And this thing is big and it's a monster. And I feel like over the years, and when I say year, it's only been like 4 years. With school, it's just been an on and off thing because you just get so burnt out. But I feel like, I think 2025, I'm allowing myself to just say no to a lot of things that don't benefit my illustration work. Going to California and being surrounded by everyone and realizing like, oh no, this industry is bigger than me. It's bigger than I thought. And like, you can totally make a living doing illustration art, So yes, eventually I would love to finish my children's book, Manny the Mime, which is about my nephew who has childhood speech apraxia. And he's just searching for his words in this big world. So wish me luck. I'm really trying to do that. Yep, that's where I'm at.
Writing, I watch these other.
When you're ready to release it, whenever it gets done and you're ready to like launch it, let us know so we can have you back on as a guest to talk about it and hopefully fly.
You should submit a book to author to the Writers of the Future and win both. That way you'll have won the illustrators and the authors. Somebody's done that before. Who's done that?
We've had like 5 or 6 over the 4 decades.
Yeah, there's been a few. So I think, when was it? Not too long ago, we had an interview with like a book club, and I had mentioned doing a book illustration, but I didn't say illustration. I just mentioned volume 41, and everyone was like, "Oh my God, you're an author too!" I'm like, "Wait, no, I'm not writing a story." Yeah. So, I don't know. Maybe that's a calling to tap into that world. I don't know. We'll see.
It's just a matter of sitting down and doing it. That's the hard part.
Yeah, it is. But aside from my art, I do work. I have a really small part-time. My business is first, but I have a part-time with a company called Visiting Angels, and they help. It's a caregiving position. So I have two wonderful ladies that I care for, and they're really nice. And it's a senior helping kind of service, and I really enjoy that. And I'm pretty sure I'm going to get some inspiration from that experience.
Sure.
Well, yeah, you probably will get some inspiration from that, and both for illustration and for writing.
Oh, I see someone in the comments, Milwaukee, Oregon. I know where that's at.
That's Michelle. Yeah, she's a writer that comes by and sees some different shows. Most of our guests this week are hungover from. We did 7 hours Tuesday night for the election.
Oh,
that's why my voice is still hoarse. And then of course 4 hours last night. So it's like we're trying to break them from talking about what on this particular show. So it's I said I might have to move this show just to get it further away from that one. But it's and see, that's funny too. Bringing that up, I was watching people on Tuesday night. Sitting there with just different pads illustrating as they were going along. I guess they were doing like the moods of Kamal and the moods of who, and they did. Some of it looked really good, and then some of them were a cross between like a comic, but yet still kind of respectful at the same time, which was surprising. And for both of them, it was just interesting to watch. I mean, I've had a few of them done over me over the years, so I've kind of gotten to the point where it doesn't really bother me much. But I think. So you can actually pay to have someone else turned into a cartoon, and they've 4 of them of me out there right now. It's just kind of weird. You get used to seeing it. And I used to keep them on a website. I took them down. I couldn't take it no more.
Is Lisa on there in the?
I don't see. Oh yeah, there she is. I think I heard. Oh yeah, look, she's down there hiding.
All right.
Yeah.
You can't be hiding down there. You got to speak up, girl. Say, hey, what are you?
Good to see you, Lisa. Your microphone. Unmute yourself. There you go.
Hi, you guys.
Hi.
Hey.
Ladies and gentlemen, Lisa Silverthorne joining us. She actually wrote the story that Gigi illustrated. We were just talking about that a little while ago, and
yep, she did an amazing illustration. It was just perfect.
Thank you.
Yes. So how did so at the reveal, how was it? I know we did the reveal, and I see a lot of tears at the reveal, which is kind of strange, but
I totally had waterworks because I walked in and I saw all of the art, and I'm looking around, and then I saw a daffodil, and I was just blown away. The longer I looked at it, the more detail of the story she captured, and she just did an amazing job. I could gush for hours about how amazing a piece of art is. Because
well, I mean, it's well, it makes, when it's a good story, it makes it easier for an illustrator to do their job.
Yes, I agree.
Well, I was worried about that because when I found out that somebody was going to illustrate it, I thought, oh my God, who is going to be able to deal with all this? I just thought it was going to be this really complex, difficult thing to illustrate. And then I saw it, and it was perfect. You just couldn't have asked for a better illustration.
What's funny is pretty much every year you get the writers and the artists are so worried that they missed the story. And the writers are so worried, like you just said right there, that nobody can illustrate my story because it can't, there's too much different pieces on it. And all of a sudden when they see it, they go like, it's such a different, it's its own art form, obviously illustration versus the storytelling. But yet what you can see through your creative process as an author, and then what you see through your creative process as an artist, you putting them together it really creates such a huge impact for an audience to be able to see something gets done there. But they're so unique, how you look at something, Gigi, versus how you look at something, Lisa, that it gets to combine. But invariably, when I talk to the artists and I talk to the writers, it's just what you just said is exactly what I've gone through, 4 decades of that,
But
where there's that concern on it. But then when it comes together, especially since we brought Echo on as the art director, it's taken to a whole new level because she really takes the art direction seriously.
Mm-hmm.
And then you've got, and then with Jody Lynn Nye as the editor, she actually takes her job seriously too, to make sure that it's, any fine points get addressed as needed. So between both of them, we've got, a really just fine product there. And every year we'll win 2 or 3 different best book of the year, whether it's anthology or science fiction or fantasy. We got our first one a few weeks ago. I just posted it last week on the New York City Big Book Award, which was pretty good because that award's open to the big 5 as well as independent publishers. So that's open to all publishers. So the fact that we won best anthology,
that's incredible.
Was quite a coup there, because that's against Hachette and all those guys, as well as the smaller houses. So that's pretty good. And I've got entries into, I think, 8 or 9 more contests. But it's it's such a good product that when someone can say I was a winner, and don't downplay it, when someone can say I was a winner in Writers of the Future, Illustrators of the Future, it really opens doors, and editors know that it's strictly by merit alone that a person wins. And so if a person wants to go with it, they can actually make a lot of hay with that, win that you've got. And then as an artist, like you're Gigi, you're doing volume 41 as well with you're doing, whose story are you illustrating?
Tim Powers
story.
Oh, neat.
Yeah. So you've got that story you're illustrating, plus you're doing our Christmas card. That just gives you that much more out there in terms of other people to see you and your work, and they'll get to know you. And then everything we do for the winners with the short videos that we create, your 3,000 photos that you've got, in all types of scenarios. Those all are to your advantage if you use them to be able to show yourself as a viable resource for somebody looking for either a writer or an artist. It's just, that's the idea behind it, is to help you to survive and to make it as an artist or an author. This
has been an incredible experience. It's unlike anything I've had in my writing career so far, and it's just been fantastic. Yeah.
So hopefully, how's it impacted you, Lisa, in terms of any moving forward since last April?
Well, I feel like my writing is getting a little more attention. People are looking at it a little closer than they used to.
Yeah.
Because when they see that, I actually had an award winning story, they're like, oh, so they kind of take notice a little bit. And before, I kind of felt, awash in the sea of thousands and thousands of writers, and so it was kind of nice to feel a little bit of attention for once.
Yeah. No, that's good. So are you moving the direction of novels now, or what's your?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I'm kind of that's kind of my jam, novels. I just finished the first draft on a novel in October. So it'll be, I'm pretty much doing independent releases for my novels, and I'm doing traditional for my short fiction. But
are you working with Dean?
I'm sorry?
Are you working with Dean Wesley Smith?
Yeah, I work with them a lot. So
he's not so much of a coach for traditional, but he's definitely a good coach for indie.
Yeah, definitely. And I tend to be a hybrid. So so I'm about ready to release. I just released a book in September, and so it's a new series for me. So book 2 will come out in February. So it'll be like my 26th novel. So.
Damn.
What?
Yeah.
That's it, man. I'm impressed.
Oh, you have so many words in your head.
I do. I have too many, so it's kind of nice.
Love it.
And then right now I'm doing a Kickstarter for a short fiction collection. It's called Winter's Embrace. So I designed a special edition hardcover for the Kickstarter. So that's going on right now.
And I'm over here struggling with the children's book. Jeez Louise.
Well, it's
so many people can just pop them things out of their head, man.
I know. That's amazing.
So
that's way cool. So what's the name of the book and how do they find that while we're here? Because we've got about 2 people listening to us right now.
It's called Winter's Embrace, and it's a collection of 10 short stories. And it's a special edition hardcover, so it's got sprayed edges, and it's got end papers, and it's got a holographic cover. And it's only available through a Kickstarter right now, so you can find it on Kickstarter. You could search for my name or Winter's Embrace and you'll find it. But that's kind of my thing right now, doing special edition books. They're actually going to be featuring that one at Author Nation. I just got an email on Friday and they were asking to feature my book at the Author Nation. So that was kind of exciting.
Congratulations.
Thank you. So,
can I ask an interview question?
Why, yes, of course.
All right, Lisa. So what's the theme of this book? Because I know, like, our story, you said, I believe it was like a dark fantasy, real, oh my goodness.
Yeah, it was so dark fantasy.
Yeah. So, like, are all your stories like this, or?
They're kind of a combination of, there's some mystery, there's some romance, there's some adventure. It's basically stories to read over the long winter, and they're stories with heart. So 10 journeys through kind of a winter landscape, holiday theme. So
okay.
That sounds interesting. So we'll have to bring you on for Christmas. We give away a ton of books on Christmas.
Oh, do you?
No, yes, we do. 20 minimum 2,500 books will get given away this year. Minimum.
Wow.
We get different groups that in, and every now and then we get people who will have runs that are ending, or they'll just drop us, 100 books, 200 books, and we just give them away during the season.
Oh, cool.
For some reason, we get a lot of Canadian winners, which drives me crazy because, shipping anything to Canada these days is outrageous.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to say no, but, I'm going to ship them anyway. It's actually cheaper for me to ship them to Europe than it is to Canada, which is right up the street practically.
Oh, that's awful.
I'm like, we had a winner come in and she had won 3 of the writers of the Futures books. And one, and I think I threw in Fear just because I had an extra one. And I went to go send it. It was like $90. I'm like, you're kidding me, right? He said, no. I said, for 3 books? I'm like, it's a good thing I have to honor this. Good. Yeah. Once we said we're shipping it. It was crazy. And it's not like they're real heavy or anything. I don't know what that's about. And then he told me, well, don't try to ship food. It'll cost way more. I'm like, oh God, man. Because one of my hosts sends me a box like this every year of chocolate from Canada. She's trying to kill me with it. No, she's just trying to bump me off so her friend can take over the station. That's all.
Joe, don't let the diabetes.
It's not bad.
Oh man, she is something else with that chocolate. Well, she sent John and him some too. You gotta watch her, man.
How nice.
She's because she's a crazy Canuck, but so I mean. So you're just writing at an outrageous rate. So sooner or later, you're going to hit one straight out the park. I'll be seeing you on TV, doing a TV scene.
It's just kind of my thing. I like to write. So I've always that's
a good thing.
Tons of things running around in my head that I have to get down on paper. So
like, are there things that like trigger these thoughts, like inspiration? Like, how do you're a lovely lady with many words. How do these words form into
your head? Like,
sometimes I will wake up just bolt wide awake at 3 a.m. with like a full novel in my head.
Wow.
And I'm like, where did that come from? And so I always have notebooks and stuff by my bedside so I can sit and, write it down before I wake up at, normal time and go, what was that idea again? Oh, no.
I tell all people do that. Keep a journal. Sooner or later, it'll make
I'm
sense.
going to start keeping a sketchbook by my bed.
Yeah.
I just, a lot of times for me, two disparate ideas have to come together and just kind of crash into each other. And, I might read a story about polar bears and then I see, some weird story about the origin of unicorns. And then suddenly I've got this weird idea and it won't leave me alone. So I have to go write it,
A unicorn polar bear. Okay.
I was thinking the same thing.
Well, you can get Gigi draw it for you. So.
Now you planted the illustration seed in my mind.
Now I know what the Christmas card for Writers of the Future
It's funny because I'm so not able. I love art, but I'm so unable to create art. I'm just like,
oh, me too.
I can't even create a stick person that somebody can recognize.
I'm not seeing who draws the best stick man.
Yeah, I'd have to be a race for the bottom on that one myself.
Yeah, it's totally a race for the bottom.
I can't.
And so when I look at somebody like you, Gigi, or the other winners, I'm like, gosh, the idea of seeing light backwards, so that whole concept of how that's all reverse. I'm doing right now. I'm doing a course in filmography right now, and just getting the basics of lighting and shooting and how they're done, the short, medium, long shot, and the reverses and stuff like that, and just getting how the movies are put together and the whole idea of light, how that works, and how you create depth of field with color, with light, with all the different ways you can create depth. There's like 7 different ways. It's like, wow, it's just, but being able to take that and with 2 dimensions, create a 3-dimension reality I have nothing but respect for that ability.
Especially to be able to think in those terms, to be able to create, it's amazing.
I'm totally familiar with like all the terms that you're using because my husband's a cinematographer. So, there's been a lot of times where his knowledge of lighting, depth perception, I took a photography class. So if you look at the illustration that I did for the book, I've taken a lot of those photography ideas where like the foreground is a little blurrier and the background's a little bit brighter and so on and so forth. So he's been really helpful with that. So that's interesting that you're tapping into this film. What did you say?
Right now the course I'm doing is the basics of cinematography.
Okay.
But it's all part of, like, Emily's the one that produces the Writers of the Future Gala. She's the one that produces the event, my wife.
Okay.
But that involves a lot of, like, all those videos you see playing on the screen. She's the one, and the release graphics, she's the one that picked it out and put the basic thing together.
Okay.
And so she does that stuff. And so, but when we do the shots and the interviews and for me, I'm trying to work now. What's my next step to take on the podcast? I mean, the podcast is I'm stably at between my page, UPRN archive, and the live show. I'm stably at 2 million listens now per episode, and it continues to grow. But how do I take the next level? So I'm looking at, so what other art techniques can I take to it to add to it that's going to make it even more interesting for people to
engage.
When Joe moved the podcast over to Saturday and we created the Author's Quill. I mean, the Author's Quill was like, when we started it in December, it was under 500,000 listeners. Now we broke 2 million for the first time last week.
Whoa. That's fun.
Congratulations.
Yeah. So it's, it shows the interest is going. So what can we do to even accelerate it more, to get more people and to build more of a reach for someone to check out not only our guests, but also to get what our guests and what the podcast has to offer to help somebody in a career as an artist and a writer. Because that's what I'm always trying to do with, different aspects of what you can learn, whether it's inspiration, like you guys, when I interviewed you after the awards gala. It's like, you guys were just on a serious high. So let's just, we can talk about that and let people know, like, look at, this is what you can experience. And just that in itself is inspirational, but then getting, okay, what's your journey? How did you go about this? How did you become, what did you have to go through to be able to achieve this? Were there any points where you wanted to quit, give up, where you were convinced that you didn't have what it takes, and how did you overcome that? That's reality. That's real life, So being able to provide that it's turning out to be like a high interest point. Even if they themselves aren't artists or authors, they like that, how somebody can overcome obstacles and barriers to achieve their goal in life. So their goal might be something totally different, but they're able to do it. I just interviewed somebody last week who has a daughter with POTS. It's a syndrome where the heart races when she stands up, starts racing, and then she can't stand up and gets, it's a bad affliction. It's incurable. So how does he deal? He's got a full-time job. He's got the 2 girls. One of them's got that. So keeping the family going along with his wife, and then wanting to be an author too, that which is his dream. So talking about his career path, is people have to deal with that. How do you work with that? How do you become a successful writer or artist when you have to have a full-time job to keep things going, to keep the roof over your head? So those are types of things that we try to do. So learning this new technology of creating videos, adding that, also creating that more dimensions of the podcast, to give me more. It makes it easier for me to also talk to you, Gigi. Now I can ask more questions about, style and technique, and how do you, like what you just said there, like I would look at this and go, and which other people that are into art are like, so you've got, because of being in focus, certain things come into your attention, gets driven to the parts that are in focus, and the stuff that's out of focus is a little bit, it forces you to look at the focus part, for example, or where you see the light in the background versus the dark in the background. It just, they both create different things, because you got the skulls with the light, you got the light on the skulls there. So that reverse, because this is a dark background, which gives a different color. That's a different color depth. And this is, then this up here with the light in the background. So you get the color depth charts you play those against each other too, which is very clever. So I wouldn't be able to know that kind of stuff prior to doing this, this training I'm doing, and color depth with color charts. So I'm excited about that, because I can have in-depth conversations with Lisa and all the other authors, but I've not been as adept at having conversation with artists. I wouldn't call myself adept yet, but I've got more knowledge now to be able to have more questions and talk about different things, which will increase the interest level for people listening, and it helps generate the word of mouth to grow the podcast and grow the Author's Quill.
Yes, I've learned more about art in the last 5 years than most people probably learn in 3 years of college. It's amazing. Plus, I get the benefit. I'm just sitting there listening. There's no pressure on me. I'm sitting behind everybody, watching what they're doing. And I also like to watch to see how everybody, when you're doing stuff, like when you're drawing pictures, some will have their pad on their lap or in their hand. Some will have a notebook. Some will have a sketchbook. Some will have a laptop. Everybody's doing something different. It's interesting to me to watch. And I notice after a little while, Echo has a way of making people relax a little bit. I mean, she can be stressful because it's who she is, but she does have a way of getting people, once she gets them doing what she wants, they just kind of relax and go into it. And watching a couple of their classes was just interesting. And Dan's pretty good. I mean, Dan kind of has a hypnotic voice or something. I'm not sure what it is.
Santos, yeah.
Yeah, Dan Santos. He got, Dan and I have talked many, many times, and I've watched him in his classes, whether he was physically there or on virtual reality. But it's, you can see the thirst of the knowledge, the winners, because they're just kind of lapping it up. They're like, oh, yeah, okay. And even though y'all know a lot of this, it's still something. But it's the same for the authors. I mean, it's except for maybe the 24-hour story. That's just hilariously funny. But
Oh, that's a blast.
I wish Don would let me make
That's
a
not a
video.
problem for Miss Lisa, you guys. That's not a problem.
Yeah, well, yeah, I bet it isn't for Lisa.
Oh no, I
The
love
rest of these poor
story.
slouts.
That's so much fun.
No.
Did
I have
you,
heard all kind of horror stories. Good, babe.
Lisa, did you find yourself having to do a lot of revisions? Because like we're completely detached from each other. You know, I wish I would have gotten more time to get to know the writers, like personally.
I know. That would have been great.
But I totally understand why we were separated, because it wouldn't be useful for me to know about writing if I'm trying to learn about illustration.
Exactly.
However, back to the original question. Did you do a lot of revisions?
I'm going to give Gigi a job.
Oh yes, I am ready for employment.
Well, when I started, I was doing kind of an exploration of concepts, trying to get myself to find the story. But once I found the story, it just came all out at once. One sitting. I finished that in 6 hours. I couldn't believe it when I got done. I got to go to dinner that night. It was like, wow. People are looking at me like, what did you do? And I'm like, I don't know. It just came out.
Wow.
Because I mean, I watch some of them. It comes out. Some of them they're pulling their hair out of their head.
Yeah, sometimes it's just nothing comes together. No matter what you do, you just feel like you're hitting a brick wall with a plastic toy. And
there's a couple of them I've read. Well, there's a couple of them I've talked to that have written 3 or 4 stories by the time it's morning, and then they wrote another one that they're going to turn in.
And that's impressive in and of itself. And I think later, when they look at those stories, they will find that, you know, the story they might have rejected earlier, they're going to look at it in a different light and see that it was a good story, because every single writer in this volume is just incredible.
Mm-hmm.
I was so impressed with everybody. So I know that talent is there. So when they look at those stories, they'll see them in a different light.
So far,
we always tell people, like listening right now, you need to read the stories. We're talking about it, and like you hear, like, wow, this is great, this is cool, that's nice. You got to read and see for yourself. These really are the best of the best writers and artists in speculative fiction. And if you're looking for somebody to do art for you,
oh God, yes,
you can't go wrong getting these artists. And if I know the editors for other publications and other publishing houses will look at these winners here, and they become, top picks, for who's going to be in their publications, just because they don't have to worry if these guys are good enough. If they win this contest, then there's no strings attached to this contest, because all the judges ever see. And it's funny talking to some of the judges, whether writer or illustrator, they don't know who the winners are. It's a number to them.
Well, that's true. That's true.
It's a number. So if you come up there, Gigi, and say, yeah, I'm the one that did blah, says, oh, you're the one.
245. Wow.
Exactly.
However, I was really, this was something that I, when you had asked me earlier, like what was something you weren't expecting, or what were your expectations? One thing, I know this isn't going to make sense, but one thing I didn't expect is to people like read the story or know the story, because in my mind, the competition was so like isolated, and it was just between me and Lisa and like the illustrators and their stories. Everything felt like a secret, but like there was such a great feeling that came with someone complimenting the work, but also saying like, oh my God, you captured the story. In my mind, it just blew me away. I'm like, oh, of course they're going to read the story. Like the judges read the story. Yeah. So like, that was really exciting.
Yeah, I read the story. And I know, Lisa, I've been told by several of the winners too, it's like, it's such a trippy moment when you're there with your story, and then you've got one of your heroes coming up. Will you please sign my copy of your story? So you get like the Larry Nevins of the world coming up, and, or Orson Scott Card or
those
something
were
like that.
surreal moments, especially when we signed this book and one of these books was going to Brandon Sanderson.
Yeah.
I'm like, what am I going to write to Brandon Sanderson? You know?
Yeah, I talked to Brandon just a few weeks ago at Salt Lake City FanX, and he really appreciated the book that he got, the signed book that he got from everybody. So yeah, so that was very nice. So, I mean, he totally loves the contest. I mean, he's insane busy, but he loves the contest and what it means and what it does.
But I got the I had read every story when I walked into the art room, and it was just amazing to see all the artwork, because everyone I looked at, I knew which story it was, and they were just so brilliant. And that was probably one of my favorite moments of the whole workshop, just to walk in there and see those stories that I read, and then this added dimension, and just how the artist just nailed some of the most critical moments of each story. And it was just amazing. And like I said, I did get to read all the stories, and they were so different, but they were so polished, and they were so just evocative, and just pulled me through every single story. And I've read a lot of short stories in my day, and this book, wow, by the time I finished all the stories, I was just speechless, because the depth of imagination and, you know, ideas that never would have come to my head ever, yet here it was. And, you know, like the toaster, the sentient toaster. I mean,
that was
God.
Yeah, Cal was just like, she was amazing. And what was funny, you see her when she first came, she was so introverted.
Yes, very timid.
And then when she arrived and realized that there's other people just like her as writers that just can do this stuff, and she just seeing her come out, she was such a lovely person, and seeing her come out and just like becoming so like, you know, talking, you know.
Exactly.
It was just amazing.
Selena, I think, was the illustrator. She was my roommate.
Really?
Besties. Yeah, she was great. It was
that's hilarious. but then you had people like Amir and James Davies and Jack Nash, and you know, the jokes just fly, and you know, they're the entertainment for the evening, because they're just hilarious. Yeah. And you get all these different personalities, and they're very, very much reflected in the stories. So it was kind of fun to meet the author of the story, and then you can kind of hear their voice the next time you look at the story. Yeah. So it's really, really an amazing book, and I'm really, really proud to be one of the stories in this book, because the competition in this book was fierce.
Yeah, it's good. It's good.
And I felt myself feeling self-conscious, you know, by the time I got through all the stories, you know, it was like, wow.
I think that's one of my favorite things there, is because there's so many different stories in it.
Because a lot of times in anthologies, they've got a theme. And there's no theme to this book here. It's just strictly, it's speculative fiction. That's the only thing. And we're definitely PG-13 at most. And but it's interesting too, because I was at Frankfurt Book Fair a few weeks ago in Frankfurt, Germany, and I interviewed there Corey Werner, who's the guy, one of the founders of Christian Audio, and he then sold that to Blackstone, and now he started a couple other companies. But he did it because, you know, I mean, the pure Christian Audio is just G-rated, and he said he likes the PG-13. So, because it gets a little bit too, you know, too much just G, but he said you can tell a good story without having to have the gratuitous sex and violence and stuff. It's not needed. It's fine. You let your mind fill in. Let your imagination do whatever. You don't have to put it on paper. Yeah. And that's where he's at on stuff. And that's kind of like where we're at with Rise of Future as well. And that's, and if you've read any of the Hubbard stories too, that's kind of like, except for Mission Earth, which was
except for Mission Earth,
the satire on Earth's perversion. But
it's kind of needed there, though.
Yeah, but otherwise, all the stories he's just, he writes that way too, where it's just, use your imagination, fill in the blanks if you need blanks filled in. Otherwise, just enjoy a good story. And so that's why we, I do another radio station. I do shows on pretty regularly, Catherine Raker's World, and it's a Christian radio. But I've been doing her show since we launched Stories from the Golden Age in the late 2000s. And at the beginning, she was real, who are you and what is this and what about that? And she didn't really know about Hubbard. She didn't really know about, science fiction a whole lot, but okay, we'll give it a shot. And then she's just kind of like, now we're very good friends, but her audience is Christian audience, She came out this year. She was that short lady, just a real dynamic gal. Her son came with her. They wrote a book, and so I had them on as a guest also for the podcast.
Oh, nice.
But she's got a huge network, radio and TV as well. But that's the whole thing, is like the audience that we go for here are the PG-13, PG. It doesn't mean other stuff isn't legitimate. It's just not our audience. So for people to really know with Rise of Future, it's good just to read the stories, look at the art, see what it is that we're about, and then know your market and then submit to that. And, that's one of the first things to overcome is know who, what's the audience for this publication. I just had also a guest recently who wrote a book on, which we talked about on the podcast, Angelique Fons. And okay, good. Yeah, so she wrote a book. This is all the short story markets and what they're looking for, what the editorial policy is. So you can look at that book, and it's free. She'll give it to you free. You just sign up for a newsletter. But it's brilliant. She just decided, okay, I've gone through this because I've been submitting all these different things. I'm building more rejections than anybody. And so she decided, okay, I'm going to turn this into a book, which she did. And it gives, here's all the short story market. And so who you're submitting to, which is important.
Yeah, definitely. But I agree. I think PG-13 it's really kind of a sweet spot, because for me, I could write in G, but I would struggle. I can also write in R and
X.
Probably in place else.
X. That's not Twitter we're talking about.
Yeah, and we're not talking about formerly Twitter, but PG-13 gives you that ability to write realistically about what your topic is, so that you're not afraid you don't have to put things off stage that are really important to the story.
Your storyline,
but you don't have to throw in, you don't have to produce a Michael Bay film and the ending of your book, or everything explodes or everybody dies, whatever. It's just that nice sweet spot that you can write pretty much anything you need to write in it. So I think that's a good approach, the PG-13.
Yeah, that's what we do here, and it's good also for the artists, to be able to have that, to work with as well. And again, it's not that you can't do other types of stuff, but we're also trying to have something that's appropriate for middle school on up. And
and it worked.
There.
What's that?
What?
You got to be careful.
Oh yeah, you do. You get you in trouble.
Yeah,
exactly.
You definitely got to be careful.
But we do well too when we go to military bases. We sell just a bucket load of books every time we go there. And it's not, they're not looking for they're just looking for good stories. Something to read. Wait, so let's read a book.
In PG-13, so I think that's a wise approach.
Yeah. Like when you were how long were you in the service, Gigi? It was 2 years, 4 years?
I did 4. I did 2 deployments.
Wow.
I joined in 2006, and then I got out in 2010.
Where'd you go to boot camp? San Diego?
No, so San Diego is the only place where it's just all males. My husband went to that one because he was also.
I went to. Yeah, no, I went to San Diego.
So I went to good old Paris Island.
They could have sent you to Orlando, so
Yeah.
it's I don't know. It's interesting to grow up in the service or to work in the service, I should say. It's a lot of people stay, a lot of people get up. There's a lot of authors came out of the military.
Yeah. I
Of course,
think
we've had several winners from Rise of the Future over the years.
Yeah, Tom, was it Tom?
Tom Vandermolen, yeah.
Yeah, he's Navy guy.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yep.
That's right.
His story was inspired after looking at night on a it's on a carrier. I guess it was on a carrier, looking at the back and said, if someone fell off, man overboard, it would be impossible, to find them, especially on a carrier. To be able to time you turn around, it's like there's no way you'd find them again in the ocean. So that was a story about being lost in deep space.
Yeah, that was a brilliant interpretation.
Yeah.
One of my deployments was with the Navy on the USS Tarawa in 2007, I believe it was. And you just don't realize how big the ocean is. Yeah. And so you're like this. I mean, my boat was huge. It looked like an iron warehouse in the middle of the ocean. Like when you walk up to it, you're like straining your neck to look up. I mean, we would carry helicopters and jets, and I was part of supply. So we would run out there and unstrap things. Like we had, I believe it was like in the 2,000 maybe people on ship. And then you're in the middle of the ocean and it's just fast. And
it looks like a toy boat, doesn't it?
It's so big.
It's just crazy.
So like for Tom to be inspired by that, there's no way you're not inspired by that.
Oh yeah.
So
that was a great story.
Yeah.
Great story. And the illustration just brought all the raw emotion out of that story and just captured it. In
Jenny Mullen, I think it was Mullen. Yeah, Mullen did that.
Just wow.
Yeah, she was at she did signings at our booth at FanX as well when we were there a few months ago.
Pretty incredible.
Yes, those kind of things do kind of wake you up when you see them up close and personal.
Yeah.
What is that, Jimmy?
That was nightmare fuel.
I was stationed in the Nimitz. It was a big thing. There was 5,500 of us on it.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it was running around. It was 3,800 men and 2,200 women.
Wow.
It was insane place. It was a lot of fun. It was insane. I had 3 different jobs there, so I had a lot of fun when I was in the service.
Yeah.
I started out as one thing, ended up as another, and then ended up as another one. It was kind of weird. They pulled me out of boot camp to put me in special forces training for 18 months, and while I was waiting to go to the next special forces training because of my DOD, they sent me to the Nimitz where I was working as a plane captain. The guy launching planes all day, and I was in charge of the whole deck.
Oh wow.
And so I loved that job. Look, I was like, I didn't want to go anywhere after that. I loved it. That's the most dangerous job on the planet. And I loved it. I was having fun like you wouldn't believe.
Yeah.
And we had a plane breakdown, or actually a missile system, a plane breakdown. And I went and fixed it about 15 minutes. And the guy's looking at me, he said, what did you come to the Navy for? I said, I came in for advanced avionics and advanced electronics. He said, and how did you get in special forces? I said, why are you here? I said, because this is just where I'm at. He said, well, I got a problem on the flight deck. You want to come try to fix it? And I walk in and fix it. It was like 8 minutes later. I said, well, I'm going back down to my deck. He said, what do you mean? You can't fix it? I said, no, it's fixed. He said, dude, we've been trying to get this thing fixed for like 4 weeks.
Wow.
So because you can't be an enlistment and be in a tower, they took me from E4 and gave me a rank of lieutenant.
Oh, wow.
I was like, really? Okay. I almost stayed in when it came time. I re-upped for 2 years, but then after that, I said, you know what? I want to go do something in the real world because it was fun. I mean, it's a lot of fun learning to meet a lot of people. But I mean, basically, if you're on a ship 6 months, 7 months, 8 months, sometimes you're just seeing water, just water and more water. Every now and then you'll see like some land go by. You're like, aren't we gonna stop? No, we just gone.
It's terrible. You're like in a sardine can. Like, this is my bed. This is as far as I can like raise my bed. I'm like rolling out of bed. Like, it was terrible.
Any claustrophobia issues?
Oh my goodness.
One of you?
No, I didn't, because thank God I was on the flight deck all the time. So I got to kind of get capture air.
Okay.
The ship.
Get to breathe.
Yeah, get a nice little breeze. Everyone else, I don't know how they did it. Just being inside of a dungeon. That's what it was, a dungeon.
I think that would freak me out a little bit. A submarine even more. I don't think I could do
right,
that.
though. I mean, if you want a supply or on flight deck,
yeah, you're out there.
You didn't get to come up on board the deck often. They had those sections you could go on, like the front of the ship or the back ship, where you could sit.
Oh wow,
tiny, and you had to be a smoker.
Yeah, you got to be a smoker. Yeah, and no cameras, because if you take a camera, the plane might miss the deck and hit you instead of that.
Oh God.
Yeah, so it was a mess, but that's the way it was. So you know.
Oh, that's amazing.
It was insane.
I bet you guys have some great stories.
But now they get these big new fancy carriers, you know. I mean, they're bigger than, and the one I was on was a monster. And this one could sit on the deck of the new ones. I'm like, get the hell out of here, man.
I think they retired the ship that I was on. That thing broke down so many times. Oh my God. It broke down so many times. We had to stop in Singapore. Where else? We went to Bangladesh. We went to Dubai.
That's cool.
Yeah, it was really
cool. You got to sail around. Stephen, there's always a contingency of Marines on board every Navy aircraft carrier. And most destroyers, yes, there's always one there. No. Technically, we're the same service. We just don't like to admit to it. It's a big fight between the Navy and Marines. We actually are really the same service, because if you ever read a Marine's paycheck, it says U.S. Navy on it.
Yeah, we're
of that.
Yeah, we're the Navy.
Yeah, they're part of the Navy. They're just the really badass part of the Navy. The rest of us are just sailing around, getting in shit, going, "Where's the Marines at? We need some help." So, no, because it's like the Air Force. A lot of Navy guys don't see any kind of real combat or anything like that. They're working below decks. They're washing clothes. They're cooking dinners. They're stocking shelves. They're putting armories up. Stuff that. They're not in any of the real dangerous jobs, and there's a handful of us that are, in places. Anytime you're on a flight deck, you're taking your hands in your life. It doesn't matter what it is. It could be anything. You get blown off by the wind, hit by a plane, missile go off crazy. I've watched missiles that shoot off on their own. It's
jeez.
It's just a dangerous place to be, but it keeps you on your toes up. And then if the catapult goes up, you can always get cut in half by the catapult cable or something. Or get blown off by a jet
to die. That sounds.
So I mean, everybody's got a job. Everybody has to stay to the job. If everybody does what they want, it's a perfect thing. And then of course you're in charge. If somebody gets hurt, you got to go find other people to save them. I mean, there was 2 different times we had to go bail out the USS Forest Fire, go pull their crew off the ship. Yeah, because the ship was always catching on fire. That's why the name was the USS Forest Fire. They started calling it the Forest Fire because it was constantly catching on fire. Constantly. There's at least 3 times. 2 times we went and got them, and 1 time we went and got the USS America. I got my first actual real medal for pulling somebody out of the fire. I said to my stepson, that's how you got his first. And I was like, and the guy says, well, you're going to get a medal. I'm like, why? He said, I looked at him for doing my job. He said, exactly that, for doing your job. I said, oh, well, that works for me. I didn't know what to think of it. I was like, sure.
That's impressive. Wow.
Well, they train you most of the time you don't even think about it. You react. It's not, I mean, a lot of people think about it, but anybody who's any combat training or special forces, you don't think about it. You just do it. And then you think about it after you messed yourself up.
It's the aftermath.
But see, that would be good book. I don't know if they still do it, but they used to let people like you come on and patrol with the Navy for 6 or 8 weeks, so they could develop stories on there. And just recently, my sister was she was on as a command
combat camera.
No, she was a lieutenant commander on board one of the ships. No, it was an honorary job. She works for the Marriott, not the Marriott. She works for maybe it is a Marriott, but anyway, she works for a big chain, and they send her around to different places. One of them was 4 weeks aboard the USS. I think it was Ronald Reagan as second officer.
Oh wow!
So she just got to float around and look at stuff, and her and her husband go all over the continent. They get shipped. They got the best kind of jobs. Once they're caught up, they just ship them around, let them go look at stuff.
Oh wow!
But I remember when I was in, and then I remember her talking about other people being on board. And since you've got a contest backing winning you, the Navy likes to bring people out and let them write, get into that kind of stuff and let them see what they can write about. And there's a lot of weird ships out there. I mean, carriers are like a floating city. All the rest of them are like little sardine cans that you wish you would have joined the Air Force after you got it.
Well, I love military science fiction. I love to write it. So
do you? You do? Do you have any?
God, yes. I love it. It's so much fun.
Do you have any?
Yeah, I do. I have a series of, there's 3 of 5 out. It's called Experiencing True Purple, but it's a military science.
Wow.
So
I'm assuming you're talking about a Purple Heart.
No, actually, it's kind of a strange story, but it involves the color purple being the sign of a full life. So when you've achieved true purple, you've experienced a full life. And this is a young soldier who doesn't want to die at the front. He's a cloned soldier, and he wants to know what it is to live a life beyond fighting. So, but there's a very, very deadly enemy that's trying to destroy the universe, and he's got to help save the day. So
sounds like a wonderful story.
It was fun to write. So
look at this. Wait, who is this down here on the right over here by the thing?
I don't know. Some schmuck who thinks she's a writer. I don't know.
Oh man, I recognize a lot of faces up here, just about all of them.
Who's hiding, trying to hide herself behind the beautiful illustration.
Yeah, but you're still on down here in the front row. So you see the front row really good. You see the back.
Because I'm short.
I thought I was short. You kind of stole the trophy on that one, Lisa.
Yeah, I did. 5'4" is definitely.
I had heels on, so maybe we're the same.
Well, that's true. I didn't see. At my age, I go for the comfortable shoes. Heels are just like, no, not anymore. Too much work. So.
I think I'm at an age where I favor the wedges. Like those are my jam.
That's where it starts.
For support.
And then when you're my age, you're like, those aren't that ugly. And it's like, you're going for it. It's a win.
Oh, these have memory foam. I love these.
Exactly. Now you're talking my language.
No, those pictures of the courtesy of Writers of the Future. Yeah, that's pictures of the.
Yeah, that was a fun picture.
Yeah,
we were all on a high because we just.
This one here is outside of Author Services.
Yeah, that's in front.
And this one's in the hotel right here. It's
yes, right there in the Walk of Fame. You can see one of the stars there in the Walk of Fame.
There it is.
Right that was so cool.
And right there in front of them is Hollywood Boulevard.
And here's some weirdos jumping out from behind the sign. I'm not even sure what to think about this little group right here. Yeah. Oh, there's the boss right there. Look at her sticking out there. We see you.
And sitting on top of the sign, jumping from the top of the sign too there.
Oh yeah, look at him up there. It's what's it?
Yeah, that was a very cool picture.
Oh no, Mike, this is one of the judges right here. Yeah, she's not one of the winners. She's one of the judges. That's
Echo.
Yeah, you've heard me talk about Echo before. She's a very nice, interesting young lady. Yes, very polite, very well mannered. Oh, she listen to this show. No, she's really a sweetie pie. I give her 5 tons of crap, but that's my job. But she is really always a sweetie pie. And we have sat and talked about many things over the couple of years that I've met her, and she's very interesting. Plus, her and I get to do the naughty collection, which is always fun. It's always fun. She's got a collection of oils, I guess.
Joe, we've just been talking about PG-13, how great it is with Writers of the Future and Illustrators of the Future.
PG-13. This is PG-13. I mean,
it's where we black out all the screens here.
It's PG-13. It's borderline PG-13, mind you, but it's PG-13.
You start looking at the illustrations, but anyway.
No, really, it's PG-13. I would rate it as PG-13.
No, they're not PG-13.
No.
Nice try, right? But no.
Okay, they're minus R. How's that? There we go. We'll do it that way.
As long as the tabbies are still placed properly over certain things.
Jackie Reese, if you go to her site, you'll see what we're talking about. It's on the page.
You'll see what Joe's talking about. We're talking about writers and illustrators of the future and PG-13 and something that has mass appeal. Exactly.
What? No, come on. That's Echo. We have to always mention it. We always got to plug Echo.
That's okay. We can plug her as the coordinating judge, and she's got a beautiful site with all of her PG-13 art on it.
She's got a studio up there in Washington. If y'all want to go check her out, it's somewhere north of Seattle.
Yeah,
nice. Go check her out. She also got the virtual reality thing. You can check it out that way as too if you have a connection.
Ooh, VR. I've been wanting to tap into that world too.
Yeah, she's actually I've used the virtual reality in her studio. It's really nice. You can walk around, you can look at everything, you can get up close and personal. She's got a lot of great artwork, and she's got a lot of commercial stuff too that we look at. We've actually had quite a bit of her commercial work on the show. And sure, but we've had some of her what I would call her pride and joy work on the show as well too, because she definitely likes to paint, and I'm definitely a fan of oil. So, I mean, I'm a fan of all art. I mean, I shouldn't say that, but I mean, I'm a fan of all art. I just prefer oil, but if it's interesting, I'm going to look at it no matter what.
Yeah, me too.
So. And being from New Orleans, there's always some kind of weirdness being posted. So I mean, I watch these artists go in New Orleans. There'll be 10, 15 of them sitting in front of St. Louis Cathedral, and they make anywhere from $100 to $500 a portrait they draw while they're sitting there, and they'll do 3, 4, 5 a day.
That's incredible.
I'm like, first of all, I don't know how they paint that fast to start off with. I mean, I guess because they do it all the time. But they're really good, really talented. Plus, they'll have all up and down the fence. They'll have all their local New Orleans artwork of things they've painted inside the city. And they just sell that stuff like you wouldn't believe. I was like, get out of here.
No,
I
can't do it. I can't do it. I need silence. I need my space. I need.
Well, there's no silence there.
I don't know how people sit in Starbucks and draw and write like the littlest tink. I can't do it.
You're stressing yourself
I sit
too hard.
in a crowded bar where people are yelling over top of me and write because I have this hyper focus, and once I'm into a story, I mean, you can explode bombs around me, and I'm like, oh crap, what happened? After I finish it.
Good for you. Like, I'm jelly right now.
Well, when I started out, I didn't like noise when I was doing stuff, and then over the years, I've learned how to make it so it doesn't bother me, because sometimes I have to do interviews in noisy places, and so there's not much you can do about it. Like it was sometimes we were doing doing an interview on a particular restaurant that I favor in New Orleans, and I was talking with the chef. Well, the restaurant was packed, so most of what you heard was clinking of plates and soft silverware and stuff like that. So I mean, the conversation was good, but still, I mean, all that background noises, even with noise canceling, it was a lot, and it was aggravating me. But eventually I just blocked it out of my head and went on about what I was doing. So
that's kind of what I did too.
Yeah.
Have you always had that ability to just like hyper focus so much where everything is just like?
Oh yeah. I didn't realize that it was a symptom of ADHD.
Okay.
My brothers are both ADHD, but being a female, I guess it presents differently. And one of the big features is being hyper focused. So I thought I was the polar opposite, but I'm kind of learning late in life that I may be like my brothers, but I just have that singular focus. Once I hit something that I'm excited about, everything else falls away. I can do that.
It's interesting that something that's so good that you can do that is considered a disorder. I think that's bizarre.
Yeah, isn't it? That's why I just thought.
That's why I think like maybe the people that make up those types of things have other intentions than.
It makes you wonder.
Yeah, really I know. It's like they take something as a plus and turn it into a negative. I consider that not a good thing. Or the people that do that, not good people. But anyway, we're talking about art and PG-13. And
we fixing to wrap up, so y'all need to start plugging whatever y'all two want to plug. We out of here in just a couple of minutes. Who's plugging first? Lisa, you were last, so you first. Go ahead.
Like I said, I have a new series out called Curse and Crown. I have this book out.
Awesome.
And
that
Yeah,
way.
there you go.
Look over there.
Yeah.
yeah, this one. And then I have Winter's Embrace, a short story collection that's available on a Kickstarter right now. And book 2 of Curse and Crown, Storm and Steel, comes out in February. So that's what I've got going on.
Girl, go. What do you mean, Rainey? No, I think, John, you're submitting right now. You're submitting for book 42, right?
Yeah.
41
Book 41. We finished September 30. Yeah, September 30th midnight was when year 41 finished. Now we're in the first quarter of year 42.
Oh wow,
That's so crazy.
isn't it?
Really crazy.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. So we'll
We're
have
gonna have time to wrap
this
it
next
up.
week. We'll be announcing the winners of fourth quarter year 41 next week.
Oh, next week.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yes. Oh, and then we get the Christmas parade coming up too.
Yeah, that comes
We're
up in a
gonna
few
get
weeks
down
there
there,
too.
yes.
We're the host for that, so we'll have a couple hundred celebrities here in about December 1st.
Wow.
Enough to make you want to start drinking. Gigi, who you want to plug, baby?
Plug. Well,
Plug
You'll
kids and I'll do it.
31. You'll see me on 31. Oh. High five.
I go like this.
Like this, yeah.
That's right.
I mean, I'll be in volume 41. That's really exciting.
Yay.
Just I plan on. It's always a plan, right? It's always a plan to push forward with this children's book. So hopefully, like by the end or the fall of next year, something will come out. And if not, there's always 2026. Yeah.
Never give up.
No, never.
Hopefully everybody will have a lot more money and people will start spending it again. Be nice to see. Buy lots of artwork, buy lots of books. Jackie, whatever with the artwork, because I bought books. See, it used to be you could buy a book and look at the cover and say, oh, yeah, this is going to be a good book. Yeah, you got to be careful with that. So, sometimes it's a really good book, and sometimes you're like, it was a really good artist. That's what it was.
Exactly.
No, I'm serious. No, John, no, I'm serious. It's just one of them things. No, it's been like that probably since the beginning of time, but that's why you have the back of the book. You flip it over, you read it, you look at the cover, you read it, and you kind of go, well, maybe.
One thing that's good too about Rise of the Future is because we have such good illustrators. Then you look at the illustration; they can also drive you too. Yeah, you can. Exactly. Exactly. That book there, you can. You look at the illustrations, and exactly, you can look and see what type of story it is, and it because there's such good illustrations, it'll drive you to that story.
Mm-hmm.
They really did capture the heart of those stories. Yeah.
So now, Lisa, hold the book up again, and let's do the Joe. You do it.
We're boing.
There. So I just did a screen cap of
Yeah,
that.
Everything she said.
Yeah.
What she said.
We're getting ready to get out of here, Stephanie. What, you got a serious question? Oh, you mean a host question? We're always looking for hosts. No, we don't pay you unless you're like phenomenally good. You're talking, if you're serious, you have to write to Michelle DeRoche. I own the place, but she's the station manager, yes. And if you're serious, you can write me at iCarCox.net and I will send you the email. No, we're always looking for good hosts. We're also looking for hosts that want to host with other hosts, because we have several shows that we use multiple hosts on, like News on the Flip Side. Sometimes there'll be up to 6 hosts on that show. Yes.
Wow, that's a lot of
hosts. Because we try to have varying political views and religious views on a network, so we're not cookie cutter. Well, we don't want to be a cookie cutter network, It's I really pride my friends in whatever they may believe in, because hey, look, you got a place you can get out. Like when we did our Tuesday show for our political night, there was 2 centrists, 2 liberals, 1 conservative, 1 independent, and 1 I forgot what the other one was.
That's cool.
And so everybody had a different point of view, and everybody was talking, and we're all friends to start off with. Yeah, actually, We did have a Canadian, actually. Yeah, Laura Lee was on. Yeah, Laura Lee was on. She was on with us, and she actually knows American politics pretty well too. But it's a lot of fun, and we get on there. And then when we do like stuff like we got a show coming up, simply called Jesus the Man. There'll be all the hosts on there. All have different backgrounds and what religions they are. So it should be an interesting show.
That sounds really interesting.
It's going to be a lot of fun. No, Jack, it's not a hate show. So that's not what's going on. We're just discussing Jesus the man, who he was, who else knew about him besides religion, stuff like that, just to educate the general population. So it's a lot of fun. I'll post it out to y'all. It's going to be, I think, in 2 weeks. And because we got guests the next 2 weeks on news and the flip side, and then we're going to do. Because now we're at a political season, I don't have to talk politics anymore. I can talk news. So we usually do like an hour news and then some kind of special subject. And because God, politics is all fun and all until somebody gets poked in the eye. It's over now. It's just time to go on, get back in the world, and get back to what we were doing. That's actually makes a difference. But it'll be a good show. But thank y'all, ladies, both for joining us. I had a lot of fun talking to y'all.
Thank you for inviting me.
It's always a good time. I should start my own podcast because this is so
you would be marvelous at it.
You would. You really would be. Just write to me. You got my email, iCardCox.net, and I'll hook you up.
I'll interview John. How about that?
Okay, good. There we go.
John likes me in an interview. He's a ham. Believe it or not, he's a ham. Yes, he is. Him and his wife, we talk about that all the time. No, just teasing. What's it, Stephanie? Yeah, he's married. I talk about his wife all the time, Emily. Mm-hmm.
She's such a sweetheart. I love Emily.
She is like the leader of the demon aliens. What are y'all talking about? See, I know her. She's like, I'm not kidding. Y'all think I'm kidding y'all. She's not. No, she's a sweetheart. She puts up with my ass. I don't even know how half the time she puts up with me when I'm there. I'm constantly picking on her. Oh, yes. Yeah.
Well, I think she can dish it out. So.
Oh, yeah, she can. Yeah, she can. Yeah. She's a big girl. She knows how to handle it.
Yep. Exactly.
Last time I seen her, I brought her a knife. So, it's a kind of weird friendship we have.
That's amazing.
Oh, no. No, we got to go, guys and girls. Remember, writersinthefuture.com. Just submit. All you got to do is submit. All they can tell you is, hey, that's right.
Yeah.
So submit, win, lose, or draw. You got it in there. And if it's decent and you don't win, they may even offer you a little help. They do that a lot to give you some suggestions and stuff. If you win, you'll get to meet all these people and have a good time. They're a lot of fun. It's a great group to hang out with. And the judges are fabulous.
Keep submitting.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Submit. It took me 2 times and I got honorable mentions and I got in. I got it.
That's how you got to do it.
You got it.
No, most of the authors I met were in between 10 and 14 times. There were some fewer. There was a couple that were longer. There was one was 42 or 46 times. But now remember, you could
30 years in between those. That number.
Yeah. So remember, guys, because you can submit 4 times a year. So when you hear me say things like 14, it's not 14 years. It's 14 times.
Exactly.
4 times a year. So, so in 3 years you can get in. All I say is keep submitting, work hard.
Yep.
You'll enjoy it. They fly you down there and you have a good old time and you get to meet all kind of people and learn all kind of stuff, and it may change your career.
It's an amazing
simply having the win on your resume can help you change your career.
Yep. Anyway, nice seeing you both, Gigi and Lisa.
It was nice seeing you too.
Peace and love, life, guys. I'll talk to y'all soon.
Okay.
Guys and girls, remember, coming up next is the Gray Zone. It's in syndication, so go check it out, what they're going to be talking about. And then in 2 weeks, there will be a new show before John and a new show after this one. Anyway, on that note, good night, and see y'all on Wednesday.